Stay Alive is a survival horror tabletop role-playing game with elements of violence, emotional trauma, biological infection, and may include other mature content or themes. Viewer discretion is advised.
With the survivors scattered. Gwen being abducted by Isaac, the leader of a religious cult like group known as the Third Coming. David and Gwen's perhaps overly aggressive would be suitor Malcolm set off in their own direction to gather resources from a nearby town, just the two of them. And Adrian, after being assailed by a number of different threats, only to be rescued by Mage before rescuing him back in exchange, ultimately sees our collective group scattered to the winds in a variety of different motives and circumstances, ultimately trying to find their own way forward based on their immediate needs, addressing their circumstances and threats. As David and Malcolm approached the town meant to be looted for resources, they observed a great deal of unusual behavior from some of the Zerks, specifically in the form of some of them holding still, emitting a sloughing and molting kind of nature to their forms with a storm rolling in, and all of this now coinciding with Malcolm seemingly having had enough of playing an imagined backseat, decided that this was the ideal opportunity and circumstance to try and attack David. As their showdown was set to come to blows or shots more accurately, David was grappled by the sound of a racking shotgun from behind to see an old man seemingly displeased with his presence in the town. David, as you find yourself ultimately seeing this elder individual quickly turning almost to run, not from you, but simply away. Not regarding your questions or your immediate reaction to their presence, a mixture of annoyance and fear sees them quickly fleeing opposite the direction of Malcolm, moving through some of the small trailer-like residential sections that run a couple blocks adjacent to the main strip, wherein the hardware, grocers, and various other supplemental stores are located. You now find yourself isolated in a brief moment, having taken out the Zerk directly in front of you, only to raise additional questions of what threats may yet be on the way, when a loud and considerable roar echoes out from somewhere above, yet concerningly close. David, what happens next?
I'm going to silently, as I can, follow this strange older gentleman, just to see where it is he's going, if he's going to hide somewhere, if he's going to go like run. I'm trying to figure out how he's handling the situation. I'm just gonna follow him.
Okay. Make an effort to utilize your grace, please.
That's an 8.
Using the rain, some of the sloshing footsteps of nearby Zerk as cover, and trying to navigate quickly behind this individual that is now moving away from you with some haste. It's probably only about a block or so after some quick moving feet that you see him slam shoulder first into one of these trailers, quickly grabbing the latch on a door, opening it up without recognizing or realizing that you're in pursuit, trying to close it before you're able to even get a hand in to try and shut it. Quickly turning around, just peeking ahead out of the door with both hands right on the edge, ready to slam it closed, trying to almost forcefully provide you as little window of opportunity as possible. What do you want? Why'd you follow me? You brought him here. You deal with this shit.
What is it?
Make an effort to utilize your diplomacy, please.
6.
So as you are standing there trying to just keep one hand in place, looking to provide yourself this narrow window of negotiation, information gathering, and this elderly man sort of staring steely-eyed at you for a brief moment, throws the door open. Come on, get inside! Ooh. Almost pulling you in, slamming the door shut directly behind you. There's a... You're not from around here, right?
Oh, well, not originally. I've been in the area for like a month.
Month? The last time, some of y'all came through here and it caused us nothing but fucking problems.
I don't know who it was last time. It sure wasn't me, or I would know about this.
You seen the big ones yet?
Like, how big? Like Hulk size, or?
You mean like the cartoon?
Yeah, like, like a couple people big. Muscles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They come with the rain. And then, probably, I don't know, a couple months ago. A month and a half. I don't know. That's when we started getting them from above.
You mean to tell me that shit is flying?
Well, not the big ones. You seen them? It's like a rock with wings. You ain't seen them?
No.
You ain't seen them?
No.
Our best bet is to hunker down here. Wait for the rain to pass. Nothing good comes from going out there right now. My name's Charles. friends call me Charlie.
Hey, Charlie, thanks for letting me stay with you. My name's David, and I apologize for the inconvenience here. Was coming to see if there were any resources down at the grocery store, and a friend I came along with decided to start shooting at me, so gonna have to figure that out when we...
There's another one of you here?
There sure is. Maybe he'll be enough distraction for the ones that come from above.
Ah, poor Arlene.
Arlene?
There's a few of us still hanging around here. We've separated. Staying as part of a group has caused some... I do better on my own anyway.
All right.
Anyway. Other than this fella you showed up with, any other folks roaming around this area now?
I'm here with a group that escaped out of Atlanta. We're kind of making our way north. Currently posted about a day's journey away, so not too close. But I don't know how long we're going to be there.
How many of you are there?
I apologize for seeming suspicious, but just... is there a particular reason you're asking? It's a bit of a strange time, you know, try to play things close to the vest when we can.
The way I see it, every time the rain comes, all those creepy crawlies out in the streets, melt them down, and then the sky fills again. Getting something a little more solid in terms of protection might be beneficial, and seeing as how you're not from around here, maybe in exchange for some guidance, little helpful assistance. Maybe old Charlie head back with you after we deal with your not friend, or whatever you want to call it.
If you're interested in joining me and the folks I travel with, now mind you, there's a lot of women and children, right? We're trying to keep them safe.
Sure.
But if you'd be willing to help pitch in and protect them, I'd be open to some guidance along the way.
They're here. Be quiet. David, you said it was?
Yeah.
We need to go.
I'll follow your lead.
How are you with that rifle?
Pretty damn good.
We're gonna wait for the big one to find something. It always does. As soon as it does, we can move to my truck.
Deal.
Make yourself useful. And you see him move to the back of the trailer, lifting up this rug, this built-in box that almost seems as if it was crudely implemented into the ground. A series of chains quickly unwound from the threading of its perimeter. A small, cheap padlock basically pulled off with no semblance of a key, and then a couple seconds of brief fidgeting as you see him undo another padlock at the top portion of it before throwing it open, pulling out 2 duffel bags, quickly throwing them towards you. Grab one of those.
Sure. What's in here?
And he throws the long shoulder strap around his body of one of those. It's just some travel gear, some food, rations. A day's walk is hour and a half drive, maybe, give or take, depending on exactly where it is. And with those things out there, probably best to make sure we're prepared for anything, you know?
I agree. If you're willing to share some of what's in here when we get back, you'll be very welcome with our group, I can assure you.
Yeah. As you are hearing this sort of incessant, heavy, leathery flapping from up above, Charles, holding the shotgun almost close to his chest, but seemingly focusing directly on the ceiling above, you hear this on top of the trailer, the entire foundation's rocking briefly for a moment. Don't say anything. I would like you to make an effort to focus, please, David.
Oh, gladly. That's an 11.
Okay. You see Charlie beginning to breathe heavy. A nervous anxiety dancing off his fingertips around his weapon. Shit.
Can I just reach out with a hand, place it on his shoulder, and just try to kind of make eye contact and help keep him calm as this is happening?
Make an effort to utilize your diplomacy again, please.
Sure. 7.
So, as you see him growing more and more fidgety, raising the shotgun up above the front of his chest for the first time, starting to dance around and aim erratically towards the ceiling itself, your hand sort of gently placed on his trigger finger forces him to snap look at you for a brief moment. He kind of takes this deep breath, gives you a very silent but affirming nod, and you hear this huge rumble as the trailer shakes again, the flapping quickly dissipating away in relatively short order. I thought we were for sure fucked.
And yet here we are, unfucked and ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, we're just gonna keep an ear out for the big one. And when the opportunity presents, we're gonna go. Sit tight.
Sounds like a plan.
There's a solid section of 60 seconds where you see Charlie's nerves begin to still, his breathing not returning to normal, a high anxiety electricity still in the air, but clearly beginning to calm to some extent. And from outside you hear, "David! Where are you at, David? Come on out!" And you hear a loud gunshot outside. Is that your fucking friend?
I suspect so. How would you mind if on our way out, we just took a pot shot in that direction as we fled?
Fucked.
Like, to be clear, I'm pretty sure the man tried to kill me. I think friend is a strong word in this moment.
Sure, well. David, come on. He's gonna bringing those fuckers right on top of us. David, please make an effort to notice.
It's an 8.
To the shot ringing out, now providing a clear message to not necessarily the gurgling and shamble of Zerk that you've come to know, but this definitive, ominous flapping drawing closer and closer. A loud, thunderous crash nearby, but into the earth. Not anywhere near the trailer, but you feel this rumble pass directly underneath your feet. Is there anything you would like to do right away?
I think I'll turn to Charlie. How far to the truck?
Down at the end of the road. 150 feet.
Okay. Let's get out of here as quiet as possible. Make our break for it. Hopefully big guy will go after the one shouting and hollering.
Yeah. And you see his hand begin moving towards the door, the shotgun still firmly gripped in his dominant hand, when you see him stop. This rumbling beginning to vibrate underneath you. David! Another shot ringing out from nearby. Oh. You're running. Seemingly firing in random directions, but still drawing closer. You're not friend. I don't think he's gonna make it, but we gotta use this opportunity.
Deal. Let's see if we can get out without him noticing us.
Now from the large, sort of 5 foot wide, 3 feet tall back window, this large pane of plexiglass that doesn't entirely block out the sound to the same extent that some of the other more aluminum-based or solid structure does. You hear the definitive noise and sound of Malcolm drawing ever closer. David, it's raining. Can't leave footprints like this lying around. Why don't you come on out? We'll go ahead and get this all squared away. Charlie grabs onto your bicep firm and hard, sort of opening his grip around the shotgun to sort of press it against your arm itself, just to get a solid grip without letting go of the strap that he's holding on his bag. No, don't do that. He's gonna bring him right on top of us. David.
Kind of move my hand towards the door where Charlie's kind of, seems like he's hesitating. Say, I'll go out first. You make a break for it, I'll be right behind you.
And on the opposite side of the door, you hear this pounding on the outside. David. Come out, wherever you are.
I'm going to look at Charlie. I'm going to nod, and I'm going to open the door as forcefully as humanly possible to see if I can hit Malcolm before he has a chance to step back from the door.
Say, make an effort to utilize your fitness.
All right. With we're prepared.
Yep, we do have a hype going.
That's an 8.
Okay. So as the door is forcefully kicked open, Charlie's shotgun pointed directly towards the door. There is this definitive pause where you see Malcolm looking back up as he's closing the open breach now on a shotgun, beginning to throw it back up towards the door as you immediately charge forward, looking to capitalize on the opportunity you provided from your quick jolt forward. I'm going to say he wasn't directly in front of the door so as to be blown back, but you'll have an advantageous circumstance as you try to bowl him over. Go ahead and make an effort to brawl, please.
All right. That's a 9.
Okay. So as you immediately go to try this mass thrusting maneuver, he's staggered for a brief moment, thrown backwards, the wetness of the ground oddly working just ever so slightly in his favor. Perhaps a small push one way or the other could have sealed the deal or caused immediate failure, but as he slides across this wet ground, falling backwards, he immediately drops the point of the gun down and is going to attempt to open fire. And as he is slipping, this shot rings out, creating a massive, almost 12-inch hole in the side of the trailer, off balance, not even getting close to you, as he is stumbling and slightly off balance, trying to take more of a reactive shot. It is now, as you look at him recoiling, trying to recenter for a brief moment, the vast majority of his left side is covered in blood. You have a small window, a split-second opportunity to take action. What would you like to do?
I would like to, in this moment, with the butt of my rifle, swing for his legs to take him out, knock him flat on his ass, and then I'm going to try to roll back and away behind something else, not the trailer, but like a nearby tree or structure. So I try to knock him down and then get out of the line of fire so potentially Charlie could take a shot.
Okay, make an effort to brawl. You'll be well prepared for this.
All right. It's only a 5.
While it seems as if our good Malcolm here is struggling from some type of wound having been inflicted, and your moment of opportunity displacing him for at least a brief moment, Malcolm is inherently a physical and resilient individual that is only briefly shunted with your quick jab and goes immediately for a recoiling strike with the butt of the shotgun, no longer able to immediately square up with the front of it. Please make an effort to endure for me, David.
It's a 10.
Okay. So as you see this rifle butt coming through, immediately cold cocking you, but able to snap back, absorbing a great deal of the impact with your neck muscles, trying to hang on and maintain composure as Malcolm begins driving the shotgun towards you sideways now, looking to tackle you towards the ground. What would you like to do?
Can I, in this moment, as he is coming towards me, maneuver my rifle around to just not even point it like in front of my body? I'm just holding it at my side. I know this is probably going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt him in some ways. Just get a hip fire shot off with this rifle.
I'm going to say first make an effort to focus for me, please.
Sure. That's a 12.
Okay. Make an effort to be accurate in a desperate situation.
All right.
You're also well prepared.
All right.
Well prepared and desperate situation, yes.
Copy that. Okay, so. It's a 9.
Okay. Please roll a d4.
It's a 3.
Okay. So as you are struggling back and forth, the shotgun pressing down directly across your collarbone, Malcolm almost crawling up your form, looking to try and provide a advantageous position by working up, looking for some kind of mounted position, utilizing the weapon to choke you. And as you're struggling just off to the side as best you can grip it, locating the trigger, the long length of the gun, probably not anywhere even able to get close to aiming at anything vital without extending your arms beyond the length that you could possibly imagine. The wrestling goes back and forth for a brief moment as a loud shot rings out, and you see Malcolm kind of tense up on top of you. And as he looks back, you can see a portion, and most of his lower leg is kind of out, almost at a 90-degree angle. A vast majority of the lower portion of his leg largely now spaced and disintegrated. I'll also need you to roll a d4 for yourself.
It's a 4.
Critical as the shot was to your adversary, the secondary potential byproduct, your confined space, your very definitive and unusual angle making this hip shot. Not only are your ears ringing from the unique sort of concave shape in between trailers, there's no immediate pain, but you can feel the sensation of wetness. Whether it is Malcolm or you or something to that effect is difficult to say until you look down and see that there is definitely a pool of blood mounting from more than just Malcolm's injury. You probably didn't take anything significantly. No blunt force in the way that Malcolm has for sure, but the exhaust from the barrel probably causing a significant burn, as well as some of the afterpush from the round itself, probably causing some damage to your leg in the moment. As both of you are in brief shock, your senses almost dissipating away as the report of the round causes this chaos and this ringing to emerge, you see Charlie's 2 feet landing directly next to you, a large splash in the rain. You see him nervously, hesitantly, anxiously looking back and forth, trying to maneuver and aim and angle his shotgun in between the two of you as Malcolm, working off of some kind of immediate adrenaline, some kind of forced survival mechanism now, continuing to drive him forward. You see Charlie quick turn and begin to run up past the view of your head as the stomping grows continually louder in your direction now.
Am I able to kind of in this moment, especially now that Malcolm's got a leg injury, can I try to shift my legs up and underneath him in order to kick him off of me and make a break for it?
Make an effort to brawl, and I'll say that you are well prepared here.
That's a 9.
As you feel this shotgun boring into your chest. It gives way in his moment of shock as he is now grabbing onto your neck directly. This almost adrenaline-induced rage and power, this combination of static shock mixing with the intent and purpose. The tension with which he is straining through all of this is causing the now rather apparent, obvious signs and symptoms of infection as the black veins begin crawling up his neck almost before your eyes as his face is turning red as he is straining and squeezing, a single trail of blood emerging from one of his tear ducts. And as he is beginning to come close, almost looking to look you in the eyes during this tense moment, leveraging the gun, wrapping your leg around and continuing to use his momentum against him, throwing him around, sees him rolling over. The same instinct you've seen from Zerk, sees him using his arms, whatever he can still kind of control of his form, almost looking to turn over to try and adjust, but you have provided yourself a window of freedom as Malcolm tries to right and correct himself. What would you like to do?
At this moment, I think, especially now that he's got a leg that isn't going to support his weight, I am going to get as far away as possible, trying to put obstacles between the two of us so he can't get a clear shot.
Okay. Make an effort to utilize your fitness, please.
Yeah. Yeah. It's 2.
You are slow to get up, now realizing that the extent of your injury is clearly a severe burn, and some of the arterial back spray with enough force to actually cause a little bit of damage to your leg. Upon actually seeing it now for the first time and recognizing that there's a significant section of damage to your lower leg, that shock reflex almost kicks in, the pain setting in immediately all at once before fading again for a brief moment. Please make an effort to endure.
That's an 11.
Okay. Fortunately, your slow start in getting yourself moving and the quick shock of seeing the damage that you inflicted upon yourself is not enough to actually slow you down from continuing to move on your merry way. It is enough time as you see Malcolm scrambling to move towards his gun, and as the barrels raise up directly in front of you, pointed square at your chest, there's only ever gonna be one of us, David. And you see him pull the trigger, having expended both of the shells in his double barrel. And emerging probably 30 or so feet away, a set of trailers down in this long strip of residentials, these large black, almost as if they were moving tents, emerging from around the corner before this elongated humanoid skull begins to emerge. No real representation or semblance of a lower jaw, but this massive overbite that seems to protrude out in this almost beak-like extension. The ears still very humanoid in form, but now elongated and floppy as if they were almost like a dog's, but still maintaining some of their original shape and formation. And the eyes shrunken down to these small white little beads. Cutting through the gray shadow of the rain, staring directly at you. these large claw-like forearm hands that now are revealed and identified to be the source of this tremoring stomp that has been working its way towards you this whole time, before it lets out this guttural, roaring growl and begins charging directly towards you. Malcolm quick breaks the shotgun breech open, scrambling, looking for the additional shells as he's fumbling around his chest as you've made your way up now to your feet, looking to run away. Malcolm looking up to you, almost wanting to say something, providing you an opportunity if there is anything you would like to do.
I would like to charge, kind of darting my way through these trailers. And what I'm really trying to do here is throw it off my trail a little bit. If I can like dodge this way and then like almost circle back around another one if it's following, trying to make it so that it can't track where I'm moving.
Okay. Make an effort to utilize your fitness, please.
Yeah, sure. It's another 2.
Okay. You hear the flapping dying down nearby, but still hearing it overhead and nearby, the cacophony of danger clearly surrounding you, giving you enough moment to pause, simply just trying to escape your path, perhaps not super efficient or otherwise characteristically surreptitious, but you are beginning to run essentially as fast as you can. Make an effort to notice for me, please, David. I'll say this is the last well-prepared that we will tack onto the addition of the hype train.
Yeah, that's a 12.
Okay. So, quickly darting, running as fast as you are able, there is this sense of immediately lingering, following, flapping, still continuing to move up ahead, and now you see that there are at least a half dozen of these creatures circling. Probably about the size of a Zerk, but these long, tenderly, almost separated like fleshy wings, causing this coasting circle like vultures in the desert. And you see Charlie, probably now about 100 feet away, running as fast as he can. Much more of a waddle than you're likely capable of, but pushing towards a large red pickup truck that seems to be at the end line of the residential area. What would you like to do?
I know that there are trailers in this vicinity. Are there any like actual buildings here too?
This is all residential. There are some that appear to be similar in size and shape that are more structural in nature, but nothing that you would quantify or recognize as like a building outside of this residential sort of sense.
All right. With that notice check that I just made, am I able to discern whether or not if the large thing is gaining on me or not?
The large thing didn't seem to follow around the corner and is otherwise occupied for the moment, it would seem.
All right. In that case, I'm going to kind of diverting a little bit from my dodging and weaving course, going to just headlong sprint as fast as I can towards the truck. Not even trying to get into the cab. I just want to leap into the bed of the truck. That is my entire objective.
Okay. Make an effort to utilize your fitness, please.
All right. You know, it's a 1. Not the worst possible thing I could get, but pretty bad.
Okay. As you are charging towards the back of this truck, your leg causing you to linger, not quite get the full strides that you would want to, and at about 50 or so feet away, it seems as if Charlie has made his way inside the cab, starts the cab car up, and quickly slams onto the gas, looking to drive away. Do you have a reaction you would like to take to that?
I presume I'm still far enough away to not necessarily be able to grab on the truck, am I?
You wouldn't be able to grab on, but you can make an attempt to get his attention or interact with the truck in some capacity with your weapon. It's up to you.
Yeah, as I'm going, I think I'm just gonna shout once hey, I'm right here. Wait up! As I'm running along.
I'm gonna say make an effort to utilize your diplomacy. Because you have the other bag, I'm gonna say you are well prepared. But I'm gonna say because of your circumstances, you are also in a desperate situation.
Well, that works out to a grand total of 0 then.
Quickly smashing on the gas, kicking up rocks and debris. You see Charlie throttling as fast as possible, leaving you in the central roadway of this residential trailer park as these Zerks circle up overhead. What would you like to do?
All right. How far is it so I can get to like a house with an actual foundation?
Make an effort to notice.
Yeah, sure. It's an 8.
There are a few nearby. Probably some within the range of only about 40 or so feet, so not particularly difficult to get to. But right now you're otherwise entirely exposed. And the next movement or directional choice that you make will likely be a determination on what sort of advantages or disadvantages you might be provided. What would you like to do?
If it is possible to move through cover or trailers to get towards the nearest large building with an actual foundation, I would like to make my way that way, kind of going back to the dodging and weaving sort of maneuver, as I'm just trying to get to a place that I can get inside that they can't carry away.
Make an effort to utilize your fitness, please.
Yeah, sure. It's a 1.
So as you take a brief moment to look around, trying to surveil your surroundings, finding the location that you would ultimately like to try and pursue for safety, that moment of hesitation, the slight delay on your back foot to take off and begin running the right direction, this familiar cry begins to ring out from the sky above you. And with a large flap, you see this almost torpedo dive bombing towards you that smashes into the ground, head, neck, and shoulders first, rolling before kind of righting itself. 2 hands holding up these leathery flaps, these dangling ears, these beady eyes now staring directly at you. Landing in between you and the structure you are moving towards.
I'd like to take a shot.
Make an effort to be accurate, please.
That's a 12.
Roll a d4.
It's a 1.
So, At close range with this weapon, a massive and billowing round rings out directly in front of it. A massive hole emerging in the side abdomen portion, causing the entirety of the form to destabilize and shift for a brief moment, though all of its primary functional moving parts and pieces seeming largely intact as the fists and claws stamp into the ground as it charges towards you, rearing back for a large swipe in your direction. David, please roll a d4.
The 3.
As this leathery wing flaps up and rears back, almost like a curtain that could surround you in a single movement, the cries of the nearby Zerk and some of the foundational components of what is happening above you still echoing out. You see this razor-like claw, similar to some of the hunter variants you had seen previously, but now attached to this leathery flap looking to carve your direction. Make an effort to utilize your grace, please.
All right. That's a 4.
Okay. As the claw begins moving your direction, this whole chaotic circumstance almost taking place in slow motion. Even through the chaos and fear you're feeling directly in front of you, you hear the sound of a car engine growing louder and louder as you turn to see this loud, large, red pickup truck driving towards you at almost 50 miles an hour. Probably too fast. Definitely too fast in the rain. And while this Zerk in front of you does not seem to be paying too close of attention, there is a definitive gap between what you're able to react to and this. Slamming on the brakes, there is this brief jolt as it smashes directly into the hip of this Zerk, but also sends you thrown and flying onto the ground. And as you look down, you see that your shirt is torn in 3 places from this lacerating slash. Charlie,
I do have
unable to get there
my
in time.
Kevlar vest on.
Roll a d4.
It's a 2.
The fear that sets in immediately as you see the shredded clothing, knowing what it means. Kevlar not particularly resistant to slashing style attacks, but still thick and more protective than typical clothing you'd likely run into. There's a brief moment of hesitation as you're knocked to the ground by this truck collapsing on top of the both of you as you kind of look down to see what the damage might be before the inside of your collar and the vest is snatched. Get on your feet! Charlie reaching down and grabbing you, looking to drag you out.
Oh shit! Fuck! You hit me with the truck! God damn it! Let's get in there! Come on, let's go! Let's go! Just
David, make an effort to endure, please.
yeah. It's 7.
Your head absolutely dazed, you confused with your surroundings, your circumstances overwhelming based on the chaotic impact of basically the last 5 or 6 minutes for you straight. But as Charlie more or less throws you towards the passenger side, both of you leaping in through the actual arrival door side that he kind of bailed out of as part of his return. You look down now to see that the ballistic vest has been shredded and decimated, but the skin underneath intact.
All right. As soon as I sit down in that truck and take a second and like do one of those things where it's like, is it really true? Is it really true? Like I gotta triple check, make sure that my skin is intact. I'll be like, oh shit. Okay, all right, get the fuck out of here.
And as the two of you quickly accelerate back in the direction from whence you came, the scream of Malcolm directly behind you, the thundering of additional Zerk, and the flapping still somewhat present for the brief moment up behind you. It seems as if the truck is faster than they are able to glide and fly under their own power. Gwen. As you lie in the barn following the test from Isaac, hours go by as you feel your head begin to ache. Your body succumbing to slight chills despite the hot and humid environment. Feeling yourself affected and inflicted as your body is responding, looking to fight off with the advantages provided by your blood coagulant, your pre-bite antiseptics, your additional medical training, hoping that the initial infusion is enough to resist the impacts. But you've been left alone in this barn with a number of other people that are still succumbing to a similar fate, and some who have already crossed the threshold thereafter. Is there anything you would like to do right away?
I think for the beginning of the passage of time, I'm just trying to, as covertly as possible, make sure that the wound is staying clean with the little first aid supplies I have tucked in my pockets. I'm also going to give myself one of the doses of antibiotics that I have, and just trying to stay calm, keep my heart rate steady, and pay attention to the individuals around me.
Okay. As a reminder, you do have access to the high-end equipment from last week, a rifle seemingly tucked into the barn.
Yes, Gwen's plan is if I get a chance to get out of here, I'm going to take that with me, but I don't want to have it on my person because I don't want to like raise any alarm bells. So I'm keeping an eye on it, but not drawing attention to the fact that I know that it's there.
Gwen, please make an effort to endure.
Okay. 6.
Okay. For the moment, you are able to maintain your cognitive functioning. You can apply your preferred methodical and measured approach to situations such as this, responding as a medical professional versus the erratic and chaotic fear many would likely experience in your place. Make an effort to utilize your first aid, please.
Okie dokie. I'm automatically well prepared for first aid. 15.
Okay. A continual maintenance of cleaning the wound, making sure you're monitoring your vitals, trying to get rudimentary pulse and pressure checks to see if you're shifting one way or another. You can definitely tell that your vitals are presenting irregularities, but no different than the way that anyone would likely respond if the immune system is quickly flaring up to try and resist an infection. Make an effort to endure.
Okay. Oops, that was hot. 9.
A period of a few hours goes by. You feel your situation deteriorate. Lethargy and exhaustion slowly begin to take over your form as you feel your extremities slowly losing blood and beginning to tingle and grow chill as you have difficulty drawing breath. Make an effort to utilize your first aid again, please.
Oh, prepared. 13.
Okay. Roll a d4, please.
4.
Okay. So, actually make an additional effort to endure for me as well.
Okay. 5.
Okay. Compared to some of the other people that were here, after a period of a few hours, you can see that they are clearly deteriorating at a faster rate than you are. You're maintaining your alertness, your sense of self, your surroundings. Very obvious and vast improvement compared to that of your counterparts that were probably here not long before you. You feel yourself in a way that probably only a medical professional would really be tightly attuned to, or the way that a parent would have awareness for a child. You finally feel yourself move around the curve and take your first true deep breath in as you feel yourself pushing past the immunoresponse, as you feel your body at least trying to return to some type of regulation. Your body fighting back, and the infection, not enough of a viral load seemingly to overwhelm the immediate bodily defenses in place.
Okay.
You are likely to be okay as you feel your fever break and some of the sweat return.
Okay.
Is there any immediate reaction you would take to feeling as if you might have an opportunity to turn the corner?
The individuals that are in this room, do they seem like they are completely expired, or would I be intuitively concerned that some of them may start to become very unfriendly very quickly?
There were a couple that were groaning when you first
Okay.
entered that seemed to have stopped doing so at some point in between when you entered and now. Make a effort to utilize your first aid.
Okay. 15.
So at a glance, before sort of descending down from the small enclave that you rose yourself up onto following the immediate departure of Isaac, one of the individuals, the one that was nearest to the pedestal that you were placed on upon your entry, staring at them for about a minute and change, they don't appear to be moving at all. An individual similarly robed a little further in, now kind of awash in this mass of collected parts, doesn't appear to be moving much either until you see this small reflexive finger twitch moving from the form on the ground. What would you like to do?
If I'm going to summon the strength to get off of this elevated platform, and this individual or any other individuals that seem to pose a threat, I want to double check to make sure to see if anybody's watching through the door that people had been coming in and out of. If it seems like I the coast is clear, I want to take out one of the Geminives that Julius gave me and just quickly dispatch them, blade into the back of the skull, sever it from the spinal cord as subtly as possible because I don't want Home Skillet to notice it right away.
Sure. So, as you approach the first one, slowly kind of making your way over towards this now stilled form, pulling the brownish burlap hood back to provide you an opportunity to expose some of the vertebrae in the neck. Able to make a relatively quick strike, specifically to enact the disability of the rest of the form. You see this brief twitch of the Zerk quickly try to flip around as you approach from behind, this quick expiring kind of before the blade sinks in. A quick shift causes the signature cracking noise and the rest of the form immediately stopping its movement. And a window of silence as you see some of the other fingers and hands in the barn begin to twitch. And the head that remains on the form that you just killed, still looking to move and bite a little bit as the rest of the form is now entirely detached. But now some of the forms in the back of the barn begin to stir as well.
Okay. I'm gonna make a calculated risk. How many seem like they're twitching?
Probably of the 15 or so that are scattered across the barn floor, maybe in the neighborhood of half.
Okay. I'm going to just not risk that. I'm going to get back up on that platform and try to be quiet for a moment and see what they do. As I'm going to remove myself as far from them as I can and be very still and quiet.
Before any of them have truly made it to their feet, looking for instinct to take over, go ahead and make an effort to disappear from their awareness using your grace.
Okay. 6.
So, quickly stepping away, but quietly, just raising the tip of your toe over some of the scattered boardwork on the floor from this pedestal's original construction. A very careful and measured detachment from any of these moving forms sees you trying to raise yourself back on top of this sort of large fridge-like chest that's tucked up against the wall where you had originally found your safety perch overlooking the front entry and slightly around the corner, just out of sight from the departure inward portion of this barn. But you do see them now slowly wandering around, slow footsteps, this sense of perfect aimlessness, until you see one Zerk that has a large portion of its face missing on one side. And it begins to and it turns and begins to move your direction, now seeing that one half of its face gone, the other eye completely caved in from some kind of trauma. Through some secondary innate senses moving closer your direction.
Okay, well,
Do you have anything that you would like to attempt?
okay. I'm probably gonna need that gun. This doesn't seem to be working. So I'm gonna grab that while I have a moment. If I have to make a quick jump for it, I will. And yeah, I might have to shoot that one.
Okay. You would have to jump down from the safety of your perch to try and retrieve that weapon.
Question. Do I think that this entity can reach me from up here? Does it seem able-bodied enough to crawl up here? Or do I think I could shout without them being able to get up here?
It would be difficult to say. It could probably reach you. Whether or not it could get up there is maybe a different story.
Okay, well, okay. All right, I'm gonna go get it anyway. I'm gonna jump down.
Are you looking to do so indifferent to the Zerk around you as a measure to do it quickly, or are you looking to do it as quietly as possible?
I'm gonna still try to be as calm as possible. So if I think I can avoid any other obstacles, I'm going to.
Okay, make an effort to utilize your grace.
Okay. 4.
Okay. So jumping down from the bridge sees you land into the ground with a small thud. Some of the Zerk kind of immediately shifting, hearing their footsteps move your direction. The Zerk that was originally pushing towards you not seeming to react as much to the noise, but does see you immediately move across the space, the opposite side from where you were perched, to locate the high-end equipment, the small rifle tucked away. But 2 Zerk moving that direction seem to take note of you. One of them immediately shutting down, going limp, the posture deflating as the other one continues to move your direction.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get that gun. And I'm gonna have to put a couple of these away. I'm gonna try to do it as quickly as possible. Shoot whichever one's closer, shoot the next one, and I'm gonna get back up on my perch, is my plan of action.
Make an effort to be accurate, please.
Okay. 11.
Okay. So, running across, quickly grabbing the gun, lining up. It seems as if the initial aim of your effort lands entirely true. You were not necessarily expecting the immediate follow-up burst as you pull the trigger and see a number of rounds kick out of the gun, a automated burst fire built into the rifle as the Zerk's head largely explodes from the first round, the one after it immediately going a couple inches above before the third round has kicked you, aiming towards the ceiling almost in the surprise of your effort here. I'm going to say make an effort to utilize your fitness as you try to climb yourself back up on top of the fridge.
Okay. Okay. That's a 3.
Okay.
The one that I shot is the one that was moving towards me, right? Not the one that was shut down. Okay. I don't want to shoot that one. That's shut down.
However,
You do it anyway.
the shots from the front of the barn immediately causing a quick, stirring reaction. The guttural growls from the back of the barn and a number of Zerk quickly pushing now towards the threshold of the small enclave corridor that leads to the primary entrance exit that you have perched yourself over and above. Probably the better part of just under a dozen or so Zerk are locked on and moving towards you right now. Okay. Slowly, all of them just coming to grips with some of their motor functions almost, it seems. Not particularly quick, but moving your direction in mass just the same. What would you like to do?
This seems like an excellent time to get the fuck out of here. So I am going to, I'm gonna start, I guess, heading towards the entrance. If I'm not gonna get up there, then I'm gonna get out.
Okay. So as you push yourself towards the entrance, looking to quick jump off, the Zerk now within 10 feet, all able to quickly and easily center themselves in your direction. Moving towards the large sliding door, you open it about 4 or 5 inches to have it quickly come to a hard stop as you hear the jangle of a chain having closed and secured it on the opposite side. What would you like to do?
This seems bad. So when I shot this gun, did it seem like scatter shot, or was it just
this is
like a rifle, but
rifle fire, correct?
Okay. Then I am going to I'm gonna turn the gun around if I can and try and use it to like break the door closest to this like gap so that I can force my way through some broken boards.
Okay, make an effort to utilize, I'll give you brawling or fitness on this.
I'm really good at both. 3.
Okay. Deteriorated and dilapidated as this barn might be, the rifle butt seemingly well built to land these kind of strikes. Versatile, utility-based weapon for a number of purposes, but it takes you a brief window. That moment of time allows these Zerk, slow as they are, to begin shambling towards you and close in. There is a very narrow expanse now available. One of the boards knocked out and the one directly next to it completely splintered and frayed, but the very tightest and narrowest of windows to move through. You actually feel the very fingertip tap on the back of your shoulder with your last strike, providing you a singular opportunity to try and separate yourself in quick fashion. Make an effort to utilize your fitness, please.
2.
Gwen, please roll a d4.
3.
As you stick your head through, looking to thrust yourself forward, almost trying to charge and explode through the small gap like a missile, you feel your leg, your hip, your arm, all of them grabbed simultaneously as you are half in, half out, the scattered boards digging into your neck as you feel these tight grips begin to close around the backside of your form, still halfway into the barn. And a recently familiar sting. As you feel the squeeze combined now with a sharp pinch.
Cool.
Please make an infection roll and send the result to me, please.
Okay.
Gwen, make an effort to utilize your brawling, please. Unless there's something else specifically you would like to do.
If the gun is still pointed backwards, almost as like a gut reaction, I would want to squeeze the trigger if they are behind me and see if I can hit any of them to dislodge them enough for me to get out.
Make an effort to be accurate in a desperate situation.
Six.
So as you are halfway in, halfway out, small, tiny, narrow little gaps in between the boards where you can now see the horde amassing your direction. A quick, concise series of bursts sees your form released and splashing to the ground directly outside the barn. Looking back now to see a section of your leg, a large signature bite mark as the remaining Zerk within the barn still scramble, their arms uncoordinated and unsophisticated as they continue to try and reach out your direction. You hear a voice behind you as Isaac is over your shoulder. Let me help you up. And you see him bend down, just appearing in your eye line, kind of barely able to see straight, still recovering from the engagement previous. What would you like to do?
I'll allow him to help me up. Even in this like haze, I recognize that I am like logically at every disadvantage here, so I'm just gonna not be super reactive. As he helps me up, I would say, you got a few of them in there.
Not all are chosen. Certainly none as worthy as you. Reaches down and pulls you up again with this definitive sense of force. Turns and begins to take a few steps away from you. Come with me, I'd like to show you something.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Are we alone? Do I see anybody else around us or any of his little...
Not at the moment, no.
I'll follow him.
He begins navigating down the central portion of this corridor-like walkway. All of the paths and movement here largely comprised of dirt, well tread. He ultimately stops and turns around after about 100 or so feet. A number of these crude wooden structures, many of them crude seemingly as they were propped up and built in this very shanty town style construction. The area directly surrounding the barn. The barn seems to be one of the few sort of more upright, sturdy structures. From somewhere in the distance behind you, you can now hear this immediate burst of gunfire. I do apologize for that. Please, step inside. And he pushes open this rickety wooden door that is on hinges of sorts, but it's two pieces of wood with a hinge attached, and then that piece of wood attached to the door. All of this very makeshift, all of this very rudimentary in its construction style, but he ducks under the surprisingly low door frame and moves inside.
I will follow.
And inside is what appears to be a teacher's desk. Large, sort of laminated countertop with a metal body frame that wraps all the way around it. A collection of papers and a stack of books on one side. Very ordered and regimented. A series of pencils and pens. A variety of writing implements sharpened to different lengths. Almost perfectly organized by size off to the right side of a collection of paper on top of the table. In the back corner of what you now step into to recognize as a relatively small room, probably no more than 12 by 12 in total. No windows, nothing standout or unique to speak of, but a large, extremely beautiful, actually, sizable phonograph, like an old school record player with a loud protruding bell directly on top of it as well. And Isaac walks to the edge of the desk, turns around, looks you up and down for a brief moment. You did not change. You did not succumb. God has granted you gifts. Why is it you think you are here, Gwen?
I think I'm here to help you.
From darkness she steps into the light. When is the last time you heard music, Gwen? Do you remember? Do you know what it was like? Do you know what it felt like to hear it?
No.
Make an effort to utilize your diplomacy, please.
-2. Pretty good.
He moves to the phonograph and drops the needle down directly onto it. Gwen, I must be honest with you. You are a unique exception that I did not expect. To be at odds with those so close. To have such fear for God's love I did not anticipate. Yet here you are, though I am not convinced. If you are in fact sent to me as I was sent to you, you are not the sign that I need. I will have him on high show me a sign. And at the same time, you can prove your devotion. And he moves over towards the desk and picks up one of these books that he opens up and begins to flip through. Oh, yes. And then he would visit an avenger draped in black. And he would make allies of my enemies. And he snaps the book closed with his hand. We had an individual come through here not long ago cause us a mighty fuss. And I have reason to suspect that he has taken up the soothing alms of your protected bastion. This avenger draped in black. You've proven yourself to that on high, and you need not prove yourself to me. Bring me the mage, the conjurer of tricks, wickedness, and you and your people will be left alone. You, the new shepherd of that flock. Even your non-believer, David, can be swayed with empirical evidence of God's love and protection, I'm sure. If I get the mage. If not,
Fine.
we will come down like a fire upon this earth. And we will remove the scourge of your existence. And you see him now reach into his waistband, retrieving a small pistol, and he points it towards the phonograph in the corner, pulls the trigger, immediately causing it to snap and explode. Comfort makes us weak, Gwen. But I knew I saw something in you. Do not let me down, for I would hate to lose the potential of the believers among you. He moves your direction, grabs your hand in his, looking at your palm for a brief moment. And slaps the handle of the pistol into your palm. Go now and begin the pilgrimage that you have been sent on. And he turns and begins to walk back towards the desk and sits down behind it.
Okay. I will just give my watch a quick glance. I want to clock the time. And then I'm going to give him a nod and exit.
Okay. As you exit now, there is a scattering collection of individuals running and pushing all across this small encampment, a number of them wearing these brown robes, some of them wearing white robes with these individual red stripes across them as they are pushing towards the barn, which now appears to be on fire. All of them casting a glance your direction before continuing on, almost as if you're moving through this sea that doesn't recognize you.
Okay, all right. I don't think I have much to go off of, but I am going to try to gather whatever information I can so I know which direction I need to head towards the school.
Okay. Make an effort to utilize your wits for me, please.
Okay. 8.
Okay. You take a look up above. It's clearly been some time, having left early in the morning with it still being dark out. The sun now obscured slightly by some grayish clouds that are probably not super common for this area, but certainly you've experienced and seen rain. A storm likely on the way. But getting a gauge for what time might have passed and your watch, quick getting an understanding of the layout and how the actual flow of this small little pop-up shanty town is outlined, you begin marching the direction you feel is appropriate as other people seem to either provide you an affirmative nod or purposefully seem to avoid interacting with you in any way. And right as you're about to disappear into the brush line that would see you clear of this small little area, you turn and see Isaac with his hands folded directly in front of his waist, sort of staring. provides you this subtle knowing nod, watching you walk away as his form is surrounded by people running and quickly trying to respond to this burning barn.
I'll just return the nod and then keep going.
Adrian and Mage. After the assault and attack, after the removal of the immediate threats taking place, Ari, the school's former principal and now somewhat de facto administrator, informal leader, something to that effect, letting you know that there are additional assailants that were not part of your original approach. She's speechless, beside herself, in shock, overwhelmed. What would either of you like to do right away?
You said there were more. Where
Yes.
where are they?
Fiona's she's they
Oh,
killed
where?
Fiona.
How many of them are there?
The classroom with the children.
Does Ari look like? Does Ari have a weapon?
She doesn't appear to.
Oh God bless it. How far?
It'd basically be
One-
at the far end of the school where some of the kindergarten and first grade classes would be. That's where the temporary stand-in Fiona was overseeing some of the children that were kept out of the way.
Do you know how many there were?
Ari, focus. Come
Right,
on.
Two, maybe
Just two?
more. I don't know. I don't know. And her back slams against the wall as she fails to hold her form as you see her defeatedly slide down it before her butt hits the laminate hallway, muttering to herself, staring at her hands, seemingly despondent.
Well, she's going to be useless.
I'm gonna grab my gun that I threw because I don't have any. This is a projectile. I'm gonna grab my gun. I don't suppose we're passing a place where I can maybe pick up a couple extra rounds on the way.
I can't think of a reason why you'd storm in the hallway. And the
There's
armory and
mushrooms in
storage
the hallway.
section is going to be entirely on the opposite end, unless you would literally like to take the time to search individual classrooms. But that is your call to make.
No, I wouldn't search. I would just be looking for where we keep stuff. Okay. All right. Well,
All right, well, I'm gonna go see what I can do. You
Well,
still have a hole in your lung. So before you get any hotshot ideas,
I got a knife. Let's go.
why? Why? You know what? Fine. Stay a couple feet back. Try not to get yourself killed again.
I didn't die. I'm still here.
Yeah, that's because I put a tube in your chest.
I think I helped a little bit. We're having this conversation as we're walking.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to
As you eventually make your way down towards the far end of the school, you hear this shh. It's all gonna be okay. It's all gonna be okay. This almost soft whimpering. Occasional moments of silence followed by a scream. As you begin to emerge around the corner, you see two brown-robed individuals Fiona in this sort of blue flower covered blouse, the formerly white fabric now stained red in a dozen different places. As you see her arms almost pinned back and wrapped around as one of these cultists has their legs directly around her shoulders as she is sat down in front of a chair that this cultist is sitting on. Almost using the chair that Fiona is leaning up against to wrap their legs around her form, slightly restrained, and a similar shiv-like knife in the right side of Fiona's neck. A robed individual facing away from you, seemingly watching. But as you just turn the corner, you hear this deeper voice. Tell us where the rest of them are, and you too can join us in the glory hereafter. There's another brief moment of silence before Fiona screams out yet again. What is your current marching order, Mage and Adrian?
I am clearly in the front.
Okay. Mage, make an effort to notice. You will also be well prepared for this effort with a hype train.
Nice. 14.
So, sliding your form directly up against the wall, waiting for the periphery of your eye line to just hit the door frame before quickly popping your head in and out, providing yourself a comprehensive picture of the room with the least possible exposure as you see the circumstances outlined directly in front of you. Fiona clearly being interrogated for some kind of additional information. The forces brought here looking for additional personnel. Fiona does not seem to be providing additional information. But your brief view inwards seems like she's not looking good.
Did I only see the two individuals?
Yes.
I'm going to look back at Adrian and motion that there's two people around the corner. So there's the one that had his feet up on Adrian, and there was another one that was standing. Were they facing each? Oh, that was standing on Fiona?
Yep. And one that is facing away from the door frame, facing Fiona and this other cultist.
All right, so there's one on Fiona, and then there's one facing Fiona.
Closer to us.
Closer to us. All right, well, when you slice the pie, you go shallow then deep, so I'm going to try to covertly breach, and I'm just going to slide around the corner just enough to where I can knock an arrow, and the guy who is at the door, not the one who's on Fiona, I'm going to just try to put one in his neck,
Make
head, spine.
An effort to be accurate, well prepared.
16?
So as you quickly burst around the corner, a full draw on the bow, a release sees the arrow flying forward with the parallax almost non-existent as the full force of the arrow quickly driving through the individual standing upright. This moment of shock and displacement. The form slightly beginning to turn around, getting only 45 degrees on rotation before the protrusion of the arrow from the front of his form somewhere immediately visible before the form begins to fall and drop. Not seeming to react. This female cultist, this long stringy brown hair emerging from the inside of her hood, dangling over Fiona's form, her hand kind of resting on top of Fiona, the dagger, shiv, knife still digging into the side of her neck. Oh no. Are these the other heathens that you were bringing to bear on us? And she gets up and lifts away, sort of staring at you. An avenger would come and make allies with our enemies, draped in black.
Don't y'all ever get tired of quoting fake scriptures? But I will take one thing. If I'm an Avenger, I guess that makes me Hawkeye, and I'm going to shoot another arrow.
Make an effort to be accurate, well prepared.
$14.
Roll a d4.
Asset 2.
Okay. At this range, immediately burying itself into her neck, a massive spurt of blood. Clearly a lethal shot in very short order. Not the way you'd want to deal with a Zerk, potentially, but certainly more than enough opportunity to see her die out before taking care of it in additional follow-up. With the arrow protruding from her neck, sort of looking up at you. They're all God's children now. And you see her begin to fall backwards, sliding out of the chair. Fiona crawling across the floor, this frantic sense of desperation, pushing past you, Mage, looking to just try and get outside the door before running into you, Adrian. Trying to hold some additional pressure on some wounds on her chest as she reaches up and kind of grabs onto the lower portion of your knee, just sliding across the floor, this blood trail now in between these two forms. Adrian.
Fiona, what? Wait, it's okay. I'm gonna try to help apply pressure. It's okay. What? It's okay.
You see her nod towards Mage. They were looking for him. Adrian, they took the kids.
What?
They took the kids.
Where? What do you mean they? Where? Where?
I don't know.
Is that other cultist still alive?
The first one was almost an immediate kill shot, and the secondary shot that Mage put together seems to be bleeding out with an arrow in some of the parts.
I'm gonna gently leave Fiona, and I'm gonna go up to this individual, and that's not gonna mean anything because she's dying, but I'm gonna shove my scissors up against her, underneath her chin. Where are they?
Make an effort to utilize your threat. You are well prepared for this.
Okay, thank goodness. Ooh, that's a 4. Pretty good for me.
You see her reach out, grabbing the side of your face, blood now kind of trickling down across the side of your cheek as she withdraws her hand. Forgive you. She begins to gasp and choke. And seemingly expires directly in front of you.
Cool. I'm
Adrian.
gonna shove the scissors. Yeah, I was already gonna do that. I was gonna shove the scissors through her eye. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to go take care of the other one.
Maybe twice.
And retrieve my arrows.
With both of them seemingly succumbing to the inflicted damage, their mortal forms not yet reanimated. Easy work to dispatch of them from any threat of coming back. But the room is empty. Fiona is crying in the hallway loudly.
You know how to fix my lung. Go fix her up. I'm gonna start searching the room for signs of where they would have taken the kids, like how they got out, what direction.
Make an effort to notice.
Look, kids are hard to just randomly move around without leaving some kind of trail somewhere. Okay. That's gonna be a 9.
So as you look at the back wall of this classroom, you can clearly and easily see that some of the windows were broken. A full-on and overt assault made on this room with absolutely no attempt or even sort of inference of stealth or subtlety. The infiltration seemingly more of an overt act. Shock tactics with aggression. Moving directly outside, you see a small, child-sized black sneaker on the ground. A set of tire tracks that in the moist ground seem to have quickly spun up and caused a very apparent and obvious directional indicator, though they quickly dissipate away as the traction of the tires seems to catch up. And following them to their very end, additional signs of resistance perhaps from some of these children. A small stuffed bunny, maybe 3 or 4 feet offset from the tracks itself, and in between them in the middle on the ground, a small silverish device.
What? I'm gonna collect everything. What is this device?
Looking at it initially, there's this tiny, probably no more than a couple inches by a couple inches, a little LCD display screen. It feels almost like a gun or a trigger, but it's really more of an ergonomic grip than any kind of designated weapon, though it feels heavy, some kind of technological equipment with a large sort of leaping fish symbol almost directly on top of it. And it's got a series of small rubberized buttons on it. But investigating it, even just for a brief moment, sees it activated as some kind of GPS tracking equipment that fishermen use to mark locations that aren't part of satellited areas or addresses that are going to be map quested. Rather high-end satellite location equipment, and as soon as you turn on the LCD screen, you see a number of dotted points, indicators of points of note nearby, perhaps.
Are they at least all together?
You don't see movement. You see coordinated individual dots on a map that isn't quite there, but you see one directly in the middle, seemingly indicating your location. The school designated. Several locations within some distance located.
So it's like a geocache.
Correct.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna collect all the things I found. Go back inside.
Can I do a field triage on Fiona?
Make an effort to utilize your first aid.
Well prepared?
You are well prepared, yes. Still hyping.
13.
God, those D8s. Yeah. So, recognizing that a lot of her wounds are superficial, the pain she was inflicted more about the interrogation than the impact or result of the attack itself. It seems as if you're able to staunch most of the significant wounds that would come into play. Nothing that stands out to you as being immediately lethal, and with a very astute and trained medical eye, you're able to make sure that any of the major ones are quickly taken care of, bandaged up, and additional pressure being applied. The remnants of your field triage kit now being largely depleted for any kind of significant emergency, but otherwise able to stabilize Fiona despite the mental trauma she's currently still working through. What would either of you like to do?
When I come back in, especially if it looks like he's actually helping Fiona, which I'm guessing it does, I'm gonna let him work for a minute. You know them.
No is a strong word.
Fiona said they were here looking for you.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you infiltrate a enemy camp to gather intel, kind of get captured, and then kind of escape.
Who are you?
Mage.
We gotta. I found this, and I'll hand it over. Yeah.
Clever little fuckers.
I don't suppose you know how we're gonna find the kids. I think I saw some tracks outside. Oh, well, I guess you might know where they are since you were there. Right? Maybe?
Well, if they took the kids back to where I just left, then yeah, I've got a pretty good idea where they are.
Well, you can come see where the tracks are, and we'll get Fiona situated. We should probably go make sure Ari's okay, and then we gotta find Gwen, and then we need to go get those kids. Gwen can probably patch her up a little bit better too.
As you're having this conversation from the broken windows at the edge of the school where the infiltration originally took place, both of you begin to hear the heavy plodding footsteps, the baseball field like clay gravel from beyond the windows moving your direction. This slow, kind of shambly, measured pace.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hide because I don't trust anybody that's walking through those doors. I'm gonna try to drag Fiona back into the classroom, or try to help Fiona get back into the classroom, and just put myself in a position where I can see but not be seen.
Make an effort to notice if you would like, please. This would still be well prepared as well.
Okay. 7.
12.
You see, wearing these somewhat baggy, dark-colored pants, one of the arms swinging on the side, almost this heavy dangle, this lurching lean, moving slightly closer until you hear the footsteps stop. Adrian, you quickly see the silhouette of the form raise their hand, almost pointing your direction. Who's there? Show yourself.
If you got a weapon, I suggest you drop it if you like your life.
Mage? Mage? Is that you?
Who that is?
And the arm lowering, taking more of these shambling steps forward, this efforted pain emerging within the light of the interior of the school. This is Operative Taurus, injured and wounded.
You look
Oh.
like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag.
I miss you too, baby. And then
Yeah, get
it
in
moves
here.
towards the broken window, looking to slide within the school. And to those of you out there surviving, stay safe. Stay alive.